Hey, Sami here. I'm not your typical job counselor. I work remote and I travel the world as I kickstart careers. This is raw, real, and on the road.
Hi, I'm Sami Gardner, and this is the Career Kickstart Show. I am super excited to have Tricia Dycka to come onto my show. She is a coach for empaths. She has a group on Facebook called the Empaths Playground. She works with Ignite the Power Within, and I was excited to bring her on today because I know for empaths, there are a lot of things you have to navigate in the working world. So I'm going to get into that with her, and she can give you a bunch of great information for those empaths out there. Now, before we do that, I want her to introduce herself and let us all know all that we need to know about her. So if you could.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here today. My name is Tricia Dycka, and I help empaths navigate and understand what energy and emotions are theirs and what belongs to other people. I found that when I first started out and recognized that I was an empath, I realized that 90% of what I was feeling belonged to everybody else. So with that being said, I actually help people decipher it, learn to release it, and no longer have to stop their lives to worry, is this mine? Oh my God, what's going on? And be happy and live their own lives. So it's really exciting right now for me.
Awesome. I mean, that is something that I think with how closely connected we are nowadays, having those sort of skills to be able to set up boundaries is really important. For those who are listening who might not be sure, could you explain what an empath is?
Sure. An empath is somebody who actually feels deeply. They can feel other people's emotions on a very deep level. They can feel it physically, they can feel it emotionally, and they can feel it mentally. So, for example, you could be home in the four walls of your own home, and all of a sudden, let's say you're really excited, you're watching a great TV show. Next thing you know, you are strung out, you are anxious, you are sad, and it's like nobody else is in your house. So what just happened? So you could have picked up whatever is going on in the world. So we feel things on a very deep level, and the more open and the happier we are as individuals, the easier it just flows through us and it's not affecting us. And physically we can actually feel it physically in our bodies. For example, you wake up, you're fine, you go into work and you're there for 15 minutes and it's like you didn't sleep all night. And you think, oh my God, what just happened? And the reality is you could have picked up somebody else's exhaustion. So you want to pay attention to physically how you're feeling in the morning as well. Like, how does your body feel? What is your body telling you? And then as you go out and start your day, kind of continuously check in to see what's going on. Because it's really easy for us to, for example, pick up somebody's tiredness or pick up somebody's headache. I mean, how often it's happened to me where I've worked in an environment in cubicles, and I'll be fine. And next thing you know, I'm like, wow, I've got a wicked headache. And it just came on out of the blue. And I used to just take Advil. And then it finally clicked, what if this isn't even mine? What if I just actually physically picked up somebody's physical issues? And then there's also the mental aspect of it. And the mental aspect of it is what I call a fog, an empath fog. And that pretty much is just telling me that I am picking up people's inability to make a decision, or have so much going on in their head that they're going in 20 million different directions. And I'm picking up that energy. And that kind of puts me in a fog. And sometimes I have a hard time, well, what do you want for dinner? And it's like, food.
Oh, yeah, I've been there. I'm like the worst at figuring out dinner sometimes. And, what I find very interesting is, this concept is something that for some people who might not be aware, they might be spending their working lives kind of in like an emotional or sensory sort of hell kind of place until they kind of figure out what they can do to sort of negate this. I also feel like some of the tools that you use can be very useful for even non-empaths. So if you would, you kind of touched on your time kind of in the cubicle and everything like that. Could you give us ideas on what people, what people can do in the workplace to kind of alleviate those sort of stresses from catching everyone else's feelings.
Yeah, I actually have some great tools I want to share. And as far as it being for everybody, I cannot stress enough to people consistency or rituals or things that you do during the day that make you happy. And that is whether you're an empath or not. That's maybe start your day off right, 5 minutes in the morning. And then let's say, you've got your lunchtime. Take 5 minutes of your lunch to just do something for yourself. And the same thing at night, whether it's journaling, whether it's a grounding exercise, whether it is just stopping everything and just chilling out for 5 minutes, and just like reconnecting to yourselves. These are just real great things that an empath or just somebody, we really ignore self-care and self-love. It's like, no, we can't stop and do anything for ourselves. So that is something, excuse me, that if you don't have in place, it would be a really good thing to put in place.
But for sure. Like having those little rituals that you can have throughout the days to refresh yourself, I think is so key, especially for a lot of my listeners who, they're A-type people, they're working very hard. They might have where they're working more than 40 hours a week or taking their work home, and being able to have those little moments where you can meditate or you can stress or you can de-stress. You can maybe do some yoga or something can be so beneficial to folks. Even just getting up and walking around your office building can be such a mood changer, I think.
Yes, it really is. My sister actually is one of those who is 40 plus and then takes work home with her. And I'm constantly stressing, please, do something to ground yourself. So she's now like taking an exercise class in the morning, and she's got 2 kids, and she's doing something now at the end of the day for herself, which is super important for especially A-type personalities. However, if you're an empath and you're an A-type personality, so now you're got your own run, and I must complete and I must do. And then you're feeling everything else on top of that. So I have a couple of really good tools so that you can immediately recognize when you're feeling something that doesn't belong to you. And one of the things that I use is something called a symbol. And that symbol for me is a bear, but you can use an animal, a color, a flower, a place, instruments, sea animals. I know a lot of people like to use dolphins just pick something that you like, that you can associate with. And then what you do is you ask the universe or God, whatever it is to you, you just ask them to show you your symbol when what you're feeling does not belong to you. It's actually very simple. And I remember when I first started using my symbol, my bear, I would see my bear 90% of the day. And I used to think, oh my God, I'm making this up. But it wasn't that I was making it up. It was that I got bombarded so much during the day that I never even realized how much was not even mine. So it's a great way to just start. And it's a real easy tool.
It sounds like it's easy. And one thing that I'm going to call back to is when you were talking about using journaling. I think if you use kind of like your visualization technique and then some journaling, you'll be able to really keep track of those moods and emotions. Some people might want to get more high tech. I know a girl who actually uses a Google form, and then she has like this automator called Zapier where she'll write her feeling for the day or her mood, and it will automatically go into her Google Calendar and she can refer to it, because if you track where you're going and you actually have that self-awareness to be like, okay, is it me? Use my symbol, then you're much more likely to be able to really kind of track down those emotions, because sometimes they do feel like they come from nowhere and you're like, oh God. For me, it just turns out I was just maybe being a little passive aggressive and I buried something and I'm like, oh, never mind, I'm actually really mad about that. I should have said that then.
Yeah, it's It's about learning who you are as a person. It's about learning what really is yours and what belongs to everybody else. Because there are times that there's stuff that comes up that I'm like, oh, it's got to belong to somebody else, and it's the reality of it is mine, and I need to deal with it. So, but as you're learning in the beginning, because it's very difficult, especially when you're in a cubicle environment and you have people all around you, and they're going through their own obstacles and challenges and frustrations. So you're picking up on that quickly and easily. And if you don't understand that you're picking up on it, you actually take it on as yours, which then becomes even more frustrating for you, because now it's like your stuff plus somebody else's that you just took on as yours. So you need to start to learn, all right, so I'm seeing my symbol, which is a bear. This is not mine. So what do you do with it? You let it go. You don't hang on to it. You don't create a story about it. You just said, okay, well, I just felt it and it's done. Move on. You keep on progressing with your day. And let's say you become super, super overwhelmed. I'm all about grounding your energy outside with, putting your feet in the grass. If you're unable to do that, do a visualization with grounding. And if you're at work and you can't do that, get up, go into the bathroom, do a quick visualization, and then wash your hands. Like using water as a clearing technique is really, really easy. And it's like, all right, whatever I just picked up, I just want to let it go, and that's it. Like, I'm done with this. So a lot of it is paying attention to how you feel. A lot of it is, now I'm overwhelmed because I'm having a bad day myself. I may have woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I didn't sleep well, or I'm not feeling well today. And then it's like, well, let me quickly clear this and release this.
Oh, I love that. That's very good technique for folks who do have limitations because they are in an office environment. One thing that I'm curious about as we've been talking is, what do you think are some good career choices for somebody who is an empath?
Career choices. What I find is, for me, I love to be outside. So things out in nature, things with animals. Empaths love to help others. It's like we enjoy helping other people. So something along helping others, but creating very good boundaries for ourselves so that we're not taken advantage of, or we don't get run down and depleted. So there's a lot of coaches out there. There's a lot of therapists out there, doctors and nurses who are empaths. And when they know they are, they're able to, give themselves self-care and take care of themselves, and then truly be there for the people that they are helping, because they are actually understanding them at a level that goes way beyond. And when we do that, we're actually creating a really great connection and helping that person be felt and heard.
Oh, those are some lovely suggestions for an empath for careers, especially with being able to connect with people and really utilizing that as a strength instead of, let's say, like a weakness. For folks that you work with and you're working with them as like a coach and everything like that, what is like a red flag type of job where whenever you've worked with somebody that maybe has this type of job, for some reason the thing that comes to mind is like a call center, that seems like to me like the worst place to be an empath. What do you think is like a job or an industry that's just not suited for empaths?
A call center is one of them. What I also think is the individual person. Like if they don't understand that they are an empath and they're taking on everybody's stuff to be working in a call center or helping people and just taking on their stuff as their own, will eventually end up getting people sick. So if they don't understand that they're an empath, and they don't understand that, here I am helping, and they're loving helping people, but they're taking it on as theirs, they're actually causing themselves physical issues if they don't know how to release it and they don't understand what's going on. So it's about being an empath and knowing and being able to help people. Whereas if they don't know, I hope I'm making sense. If they don't know.
You do. This is actually reminding me of kind of what I didn't do when I actually worked at a nonprofit and I was working in a drop-in space for homeless LGBT youth. You're making me realize why every day I just came home and I was like, I could do nothing. That was the year where I watched a lot of TV. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah. But that was your outlet to kind of release that energy that you picked up without realizing it. So you're here doing this great service for homeless kids and helping people. And, same thing with all of these centers that we have open for rape victims and, addiction centers. You're there to help them, and that's what you want to do. But when you go home, there is no, you have to find a way to let this go without it consuming you and physically hurting you.
Yeah, for me, I wish I had known some of these techniques, because I feel like for me, I mostly just went into hibernation mode and with the TV. Yeah. But your way sounds a lot more healthy and productive. Now that we've asked, we've talked about a number of things, I really want to make sure that people who are listening and they're like, okay, this sounds like me, these are techniques that I need. Tell us where the listeners can find you on the web and how they can work with you.
That's awesome. You can find me on Facebook at Tricia Dycka, or you can come and send me an email at tricia@triciadycka.com. And then there's my website where you can see the different ways of working with me. I do work one-on-one. I do work in groups. And I also have a Facebook group called The Happy Empath, because my message is you can be an empath, you can be happy, you can help people, and you can enjoy your own life.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Tricia, for all this information and letting us know where we can find you and giving us all these little tips and tricks, which I feel like could be useful for people, whether or not they identify as an empath or not. So thank you so much. Before we end the interview, if you have anything that you're launching or any cool mailing list thing that you feel like is a good opener for folks to start working with you, you can definitely let me know. Tell it in the podcast, or I can share in the show notes.
If you sign up for my newsletter, I'm constantly sharing stories and tools and tips on how being an empath affects you and the different things that you can do daily, because I'm all about quick and easy. I am all about living my life, and I'm all about staying present and being present in my life without getting caught up in everybody else's emotions. So I still feel it, but I can, my life keeps going. And these are the things that I share constantly, and I've gotten great feedback through. So definitely hook up with me through my email list, which is at Tricia@triciadycka.com. You can sign up there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much again, Tricia, and thank you all who are listening. This is the Career Kickstart Show. Bye.
Find something cool at cool.careerkickstartacademy.com.